Hello and welcome to another Industry Live Wednesday. ThatKimberly, and thank you for joining us today. Where we talk about all things business, startups, and a little bit about mental health in the workplace. But today we are going to be chatting with Brent Bowers, who is a land shark, and he's going to share a little bit about his journey with us shortly. But before that, we are here every Wednesday, either at 12:30 Central Standard, or if you don't at that time, that means we'll be on at 6:30 Central Standard. We're changing things up this, and thanks to our different co-hosts, we have those two different time slots. So wherever you're watching us from, please, it's Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, or YouTube. And if you have a question for Brad, put it in the comments. If you know someone who could use this information, please share information with them. And of course, last but well, not last, if so that you can see other episodes, go ahead and follow or like the page. And last but not least, if you want to be a guest, you can either reach out to me, email me here, or you can ask any of our co-hosts, Diana, Boncha, Trisha, Deb, so we can get you scheduled on a Wednesday that works for you. If you don't want to do that, last but not least, you can go to this link, download some free resources, and also contact us that way to get scheduled if you're interested in being a guest. And wherever you us on the replay, make sure you put hashtag replay and the city that you're watching us from, so that you know where you came in and joined us. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on our guest, Mr. Brent Bowers. Hello, Brent.
Hey, Kimberly, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm so good. I'm so good. Thanks for having me on Industry Live.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. So give the audience a little high level. I never like read off anyone's bio. No, not like you sent me one or I asked for one, but I tell people, tell about yourself so I don't mess it up.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I'm just like, I'm glad you don't have my bio because it's not that interesting. Who cares? Honestly, it's I buy and sell vacant raw land. I teach people how to do it. Land investing has changed my life.
Why what is a land shark and why did you start?
Yeah.
Why did you become one?
So I honestly got started in real estate in 2007 because I was always into the Rich Dad, Poor Dad and the Donald Trump books, because I knew that real estate made people wealthy. And, I wanted to go through life and, just not have to ever worry about money. So I got into real estate in 2007, probably the world's worst timing, right after high school. Pretty much was homeless in 2009, and it was not all sunshines and rainbows like a lot of these, like we call them gurus, talk about.
Yeah.
So I ended up joining the military 2009, did multiple combat deployments to Afghanistan, and then had one failed marriage because I was always gone. And then basically was in a new marriage in 2015. We started having babies, and guess what? History was probably going to repeat itself. I was preparing for that third combat deployment. The train up was gruesome for it. So I was going to be gone away from home for another year and a half. And I was petrified. I was like, I've got to figure out a way to make a living and be able to get out of the military. So I was searching like podcasts and reading the 4-Hour Work Week by Timothy Ferriss, all the business books. But I was like, I don't want to go with the crowd or go with the herd mentality. I'm from Okeechobee, Florida. We have our biggest producer of income is feeder calves. And I know one thing about cows, they eventually go to slaughter. And I didn't want to follow the herd where everyone was going after like the stinky old dirty cat pee houses or multifamily. And I wanted to be different. I've been different my whole life. People have told me that, sometimes really rudely. But
to each his own.
Yeah, I heard a guy talking about flipping vacant raw land, stuff with nothing on it, on a podcast, and he was like talking about doubling his money overnight. And I was like, if I can do half as well as this guy's doing, or maybe 1/10 as well, my life will be forever changed. So I went out there and immediately started taking action. What did I do? I found landowners that were behind on their taxes, and I
Yeah.
started mailing them a postcard. And lo and behold, the phone started ringing. So I started taking a lot of action. I blind faith. I made a lot of mistakes, but guess what? I was making money on vacant raw land, and there was virtually no competition. And what was so cool is, these owners of this land were completely unattached to it, like not emotionally attached. Where in houses where I started out in 2007 and dabbled in until about 2015, it was like literally trying to get them, I don't know, just
To give up
like,
their child.
yes,
Child,
okay,
yes.
perfect, great way to
Yeah.
put it, because they had
Yeah.
raised their families in these houses, so they were emotionally attached. And what are we told? Our house is our biggest investment. And what do investments do? They increase in value. And they wanted to get, like, they'd never painted or even replaced the carpet in the 20 years they lived there, but they wanted top dollar. And I wasn't that good of a salesman to talk to these people into selling me their property at a discount. But land, it was happening.
That's crazy.
So yeah, here I am.
And okay, so you're saying raw land. So you're just saying to buy, people would lease their land, put cows, or to put parking lot, to put nothing on it, or to put something on it?
Yeah, no, they were selling it to me. They agreed to sell it to me at a discounted price, and I was turning around and finding a cash buyer for a little bit more than what I was agreeing to pay for it, and that's where I was making my quick money. And then I got even better, and I started buying the stuff and then turning around and selling it to other people on payments, allowing them to pay me, and that's where the passive income came in and allowed me to eventually quit my job.
Wow. When did that quitting in like 2018?
You got it. I haven't had a real job since 2018 when I left the military. And it was not just as easy as just saying I quit. I had to put in a packet. It took 2 years to get out, and it was quite time consuming and gruesome. But what that allowed me, and I don't recommend anybody go out there and quit their job until you have way more money coming in from somewhere else. And some people love their job, and you should stay there. But it gave me about a 2-year runway to really get my stuff straight, to get that income coming in consistently. Because I was like, maybe this is a fluke. I was still scared to death when I got out. But that first month, I was like, okay, this is right. Like, this was the Lord's plan, because we had our best month ever.
Wow. Well, congratulations. Well, where would someone start? Where do you tell people to start when they come to you and they say, I want shark too?
Yeah,
because let me tell you, I found you on TikTok, right? You were so kind and did what you say you were going to do, and you sent me a letter, it was a templated letter that I could then turn around and send to a landowner, because I buy the lot right next to this piece of land that my mom had in the middle of Texas that was out in the, and I couldn't, anyway, so it was easy to use, pop in the correct names and addresses, boom, boom, boom. And that was great. Right. And I was that's the only piece of land that I purchased. But that's what got me started,
And that is so amazing that you just took action from watching a TikTok video, and that's where this all started. That's what allowed this empire to start for me. Just hearing that guy on the podcast, and I was like, man, I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to just go for it, because no one else is talking about this. So here's how I recommend starting now. I've made a lot of mistakes since 2015. I've paid for a lot of coaching, and we've also made a lot of money. So the program's really, like, I now teach people how to do this, and it's evolved, and it's really cool. It's a huge community, and I get to learn from other very successful land investors. And some of my students are doing way better at this than I am.
Yeah.
Which at first I was like, what's wrong with me? But now I'm thinking I'm a good coach. But so how I recommend people to start now, and this is exactly how I do it in my own personal land business, is I like to find out where the land is in most demand, because I know if I get a deal, it's going to sell itself. I used to buy stuff in the middle of nowhere, like in the desert, and I had to work to sell it. Now, did it make money? Oh yeah. Like, I would sometimes, get 20 500% return on investment. What do I mean by that? I would buy the land for like literally $300 and sell it for 5,000. Like that's a pretty good ROI. But
Yeah.
the thing, it takes the same amount of money to make $10,000 on a land deal as it does like maybe $1,000 or $2,000 profit.
Okay. That's good to
So
know.
we've evolved. So basically how I recommend someone to do that, like for instance, if you're in Orlando, Florida, or you could be in Canada. I got a guy I'm training to do this in Canada. He invests in Georgia. So he goes to redfin.com. Redfin.com is a free resource and puts in Atlanta, Georgia, and goes to all filters in the top right-hand corner. He selects solds because he wants to see what's selling. That's going to show you where the demand's at. Then he selects land only. And then he looks at what's going on in the last 30 days. And it's like, oh man, that's overwhelming. There's too many solds. Then he goes to 7 days. And this is exactly what I do as well. But once he goes to that 7 days, now it's time to go and exit out of that Atlanta, Georgia, because we want to remove those outliner or that boundary, because we want to see what's outside of that and then zoom out a little bit. And we're looking for the clusters of sold land. And real estate is very micro. I like to micro down and get as zoomed in as possible, sometimes where it's just a neighborhood. And then we're going to click on each one of those parcels of land and we're going to see what it's selling for. And if you don't have anything that's selling in a week, then go to 30 days. If you don't have anything that's selling in 30 days, go to 6 months if you have to. If you're seeing solds, that means people are buying that land and selling it as well. And you can find out exactly what they're selling it for. Now, some states like Texas, you just mentioned, there's another step to that. Like you got to talk to land specialist realtors, and I'll tell you how to find those as well.
Yeah.
But once we see where the land's selling, now we see what it's selling for, how much, what size parcel, and then you scroll down a little bit more. When you click, you can see who it was listed by, the listing agent, and the bought by the buyer's agent. And these are your boots on the ground. These are your experts in the area. And call them all and ask like, hey, I see that you sold a half-acre parcel in, Rome, Georgia. What are most of those parcels going for? Like, can you give me an average price per square foot or an average price per acre?
People are pretty open to answering those questions.
Oh, 9 out of 10 realtors, if they've got brains, they're going to help you, because guess what? They're eventually going to help you sell that land. So once you figure that out, you can use that exact offer letter you were talking about, that template. And if anybody wants a copy of this, guys, I've been triple split testing this. I've been testing it against checks, against postcards, and this one is by far outperforming the other two put together. So go to thelandsharks.com/LOL. That's land offer letter, or laugh out loud because we just got a smoking hot deal under contract. So once you price out that land, and I want to chunk it down. Like, let's just say that most of the parcels you're seeing sell are 10,000 square foot lots or quarter acre lots. Well, that's where we're going to start today. And tomorrow, maybe we can mail the half-acre lots. And the next day, we can mail the 1 acre lots until we exhaust all the landowners in that one area. But I'm sending those letters out, and they come back to me signed. And most of the time, if you put the right verbiage in there, now you want to run this by your attorney, like to make sure I'm not breaking any rules across the country.
Yeah, because every state is different, people. So
and you give the attorney the agreement. And they charge you $100 or $200 to put in the things that are going to save your butt and keep you in compliance. And sometimes, like some areas I'm in, I got 6 weeks to market this land to find my buyer before I even have to buy it. And that's pure gold. And that's what I'm teaching people how to do. And we rinse and repeat it. Sometimes we assign our contract, like we get it under contract and we find a cash buyer. Maybe we don't have the money. When I first started out, I had no money. I had no money. I couldn't buy the land. And eventually now we're buying all of it or most of it. And then we're turning around and selling it to people on payments. Now, do I always use my own cash for this? No, I've got lenders, some of them now beating down my door to loan me money at 9% interest. So
you got to make relationships with those lenders.
Yeah. But before I had the lenders, I had to show proof of concept. I had to show like a track record. And I just started small. Like my first land deal was $285.
$285. Wow.
Yeah, and I sold it to a realtor for $5,000. And it was that land specialist realtor. She bought it from me. And that's what gave me the confidence to do it again. The next one I bought for $500. And I sold it on Craigslist for $500 down, $400 a month. And that's the one that literally lit me up. Like the light bulb went off, because now my truck payment's getting paid every month.
Yeah.
We just kept doing it and doing it and doing
Doing it and doing it. What so would you say what are like top three things? So we're doing the research. We go in, like you said, you went through all the the filters, and then after that, you know, is it talk to a lawyer, talk to a in Texas you have to get a surveyor. So state is different. So you should know your laws, right? In whatever state you're purchasing, or city, or county, things of that sort, correct? And then after that, what else should people be thinking about?
Yeah, the main thing is you want to make sure you know what the land in that area is going for before you follow through with either the purchase. And a lot of times the buyers will tell you,
Mm-hmm.
like we get these properties under contract for sometimes 30, 45, sometimes 6 months, and allows us to assign or sell our purchase agreement to a cash buyer. And the buyer is going to tell you, and if there's something wrong with the property, they're not going to buy it. So you
Yeah.
go back to the seller and renegotiate or cancel the contract. That's the main thing. You want to build profit into this. And I see so many people go out there and it's like, I just got to buy a land now. And they're like, okay, the land's worth 30,000. I'm going to get it under contract for 28,000. Well, there's not a lot of room for you to make money and you're going to
Yeah.
work your butt off. I would prefer the land's worth 30,000. You be somewhere around $15,000 under contract for that land. Now you have a beautiful piece of land worth $30,000 under contract, a purchase agreement for 15,000, for 50 cents on the dollar. If I was Kimberly, if I said, "Hey, I've got this land is worth 30,000, I'll sell it to you for 20,000." And you're going to have $10,000 equity, and you're a like a land buyer, or you're a builder, or you plan to
Mm-hmm.
build your house out in Texas one day. That's going to be a good deal for you, and
Mm-hmm.
more than likely, if you're in that market, you're going to want to buy it. Like, how am I finding these buyers?
Yeah.
Land specialist realtors I talked about, the
Mm-hmm.
multiple listing service, Craigslist, Facebook.
Connections,
Yeah.
networking. Yeah. We got a question. Let me
Oh,
bring up this
awesome.
question. How about maintaining cost for labor plus to maintain the land between the purchase and your?
Great question, Trisha. Yes, that's
Yes.
like, and what's awesome about land, it's not like houses. There's no, there's like really no maintenance. The only time
Mm-hmm.
there's a maintenance cost on a piece of land is a lot of counties, they don't require you to mow it unless it's already been cleared and mowed. So I've
Got
got
it.
over 350 parcels of land. I'm not maintaining any of it. There's no
Hmm.
cost except the county taxes. So if I don't sell that parcel of land fairly quickly, I'm going to have to pay those taxes in a year. But my buyers are actually each, like, let's say that the taxes are, $1,200 a year, and that's really high for land.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to escrow that in for my buyer to pay me $100 a month, 12 months out of the year, and I'm going to use their money to pay those taxes.
Hmm. Got it.
So really, taxes are your main thing. But most of the time, I only have this land for about 30 days. And if I have it longer than that, it means two things. I'm not marketing it very well,
Mm-hmm.
or I'm too high of a price. Like, I have a piece of land that was sitting for about 30 days in Florida. And it was just this week, actually. I was like, man, I need to do something. It was listed with a realtor. I had purchased the land. I'm in a good position. I bought it for 15,000. It's for sale for 30. And I'm like, why has no one bought this land?
Yeah.
Well, summer in Florida is very slow with land. Like, after August.
Besides, it's hot, and it's hot.
Yeah. Oh my goodness gracious. About when the kids go back to school, things will start moving again. But what I did was I went out and put 12 signs out. And this was down the road from my house. 20 minutes from me is where the land's at. And I just put on there $282 a month, my phone number, land for sale, $282 a month, my phone number. I've gotten like 35 phone calls and I already have a buyer ready to go. So I just had to go out there and work it a little harder.
You have to be active. You can't, it's not something that you sit, it only becomes passive once you start rolling in those additional plots of land or your additional deals, like you're saying, like you did that last deal where you leased it out for two something a month, correct?
Yes. And yeah, there is a little active work unless, you buy a piece of, like, I bought 5 acres in Daytona Beach. We listed it with the realtor, and that's where that land that's in high demand
Mm-hmm.
pays off because the realtor sell it. Like, I used to sell all this stuff myself. Now that I'm doing higher priced land, like that $500 parcel, I sold that myself. Like I had to go out there and work to sell it. But when you get into more high demand and higher price land,
Uh-huh.
someone else sells it for you.
Got it. Got it. Wow. That definitely, I can see. So you are definitely seeing the trends. You're good for you going with the flow. And by the way, thank you for your service. Thank you very much for your service. But like I think that you point out good points about the research and and looking at where the clusters are and figuring out, and go and making sure you have enough margin, people. That's called margin, between what you for it and what you're selling it is your margin in between, which also means your profit. So just being mindful of not getting yourself into a hole, or being mindful not to, like you said, what, 30,000 and only sell it for 28. I think 2,000 was the I don't remember what the exact numbers, but would you say that's a true statement?
Yeah, I see that happen to people all the time, and I've been guilty of it as well. And I like to say this is a recession-proof business because, oh my God, what if the market crashes? Well, here's the thing. I'm buying on today's prices and I'm getting it at a discount on today's prices. Like I'm not going back 2 years and looking at those prices,
Mm-hmm.
because here's the thing, like I want to get a discount today because we're in business to make money today. Not
Yeah.
I don't want to hold this land for 10 years. That we call that land banking. Now, if you had a bunch of cash and you just want to outrun inflation, and you literally want the most passive investment ever, yeah, go land bank. Go buy that piece of land that might be in the path of growth 10 or 20 years from now. But
Mm-hmm.
I want my money or other people's money making income today, right now.
Yeah.
So land is profitable immediately and forever. What do I mean by that? I bought a piece of land for $40,000 and my mother-in-law lended me the money at 9% interest. I
Mm-hmm.
had a buyer waiting to pay $5,000 down, $942 a month. And he's going to be paying for 13 and a half years, and then he will own it outright. So I was profitable immediately because I used my mother-in-law's money, 40,000. I didn't have to come up with anything at closing.
Mm-hmm.
She's getting an $800 a month payment. So I got 5,000 up front. I did not send that to my lender. I did not send that to my mother-in-law. That's my money. And she gets $800 a month for the next 5 years, which is 60 months. And I'm keeping the difference of 946 minus my mother-in-law's $800 payment. So I'm keeping 146 a month for the next 60 months, which is about 7,900 bucks. And
Mm-hmm.
then after my mother-in-law's paid off, I'm going to keep the whole $946 for 8 years. So that's $102,000 net profit deal if this guy never pays me off early and or doesn't default. Now
Yeah.
he might sell it, he might build on it and pay me off. And oh, by the way, I sold it to him for 90,000.
Wow.
90,000.
Okay.
And here's the thing, like if he pays me off early, I'm still going to I'll get my profit sooner. I won't make as much money, but I
Mm-hmm.
can return that profit. I would rather get profit today than wait for it. But the payments are nice because that gives you the financial freedom. Like how much, like you don't need like most people don't need as much money as they think to
Yeah.
retire.
Yeah. Well, and being, just creative financing, like what you did with your mother-in-law, and being mindful of how to creatively finance and extend it out and make it comfortable for you so that you don't get in a pickle. You're not
Yeah.
stretched.
And it's amazing because my mother-in-law is in a good position as a lender.
Mm-hmm.
She's got a lender's title insurance policy. We've already got a buyer paying, so she's got security there. The land's worth 90,000 because that's what we sold it for to a ready,
Mm-hmm.
willing, and able buyer, and she's only got 40,000 into it. So if you do the math, she's less than 50% loan to value. So a bank would like be in a great position. Most of the
Yeah.
time, banks they don't lend on land, so that gives us a great opportunity for two things. Like if you took all lending away today, the price of everything would go down. Real estate, houses, cars, groceries, soap. Like lending, if you took it all away, it would go down. So land, most of the time you can't go out and get a loan on it unless you come up with at least 50%. So these sellers know they either got to lend to you, allow you to make payments to them, or sell it to you at a discount.
Got it.
So
Got
there's
it. That's
so many creative ways to do it. Like there's too many ways to talk about on this podcast,
yeah.
but it's like you just there's no box.
Yeah. It does not sound like it. And Trisha says, thank you very much for answering her question, and giving us those scenarios. Like I so, it definitely is something now I'm thinking back, well, okay, maybe I shouldn't just be letting that sit there now that I have a half equals a whole, because that's what I used the LOL letter.
I love it.
Letter, what does it stand for? Letter of
Land offer letter, the land
land
offer
offer letter.
letter.
I wanted to say letter of intent, and I had a break. But yeah, land offer. So if anybody is interested, you again can go to landsharks.com/LOL. So that way you can receive that letter and see what Brent is talking about. For others who are interested in this and getting coached, how can they connect with you?
Yeah, thanks for asking. We run an amazing community. We do multiple support calls a week. I'm going to give you the exact playbook of exactly what I do in my land business. You get access to me via cell phone. There's my cell phone number right there. Call me if you want to talk about it. And I will get you a land deal faster than you, like literally 47 days on average. We have students making revenue. So best way to get in touch with me is go to my TikTok or my Instagram, Brent L. Bowers, or call me or text me. I do reply to all texts and voicemails. So, yeah.
Well, it's an amazing journey, and it's amazing the fact that you came from 2000, from being homeless in 2009 to, full circle, going into the military deployment, 2 different, all of that, to now having 300 and something plus, right? You said parcels of land.
Yes.
And teaching others, coaching others on how to do this. It sounds it's easier than one might think.
Well, it's just one parcel of land at a time, and I hate to even mention that because, sometimes for someone just to have an additional $500 a month, that was life changing for me.
Yeah.
Mine was 400 and that was covering my truck payment. And then before we knew it, we sold a couple more and we were up to like 800. And then after 1 year, I was at $9,000 a month in payments coming from land. And I was like, at one time, I couldn't imagine making $9,000 a month. Could not imagine it. Now I can quit my job.
Yeah. I think you already have. Well, Brent, like, it is an amazing story. Is there any, just to be respectful of your time, as we've got 2 minutes left, is there anything that you want us with so that we, besides, of course, I'm going to throw up your, all your information.
Yeah, go out there today, change your life, take action. There's so much gold that you provide on the Industry Live podcast. Don't just be a listener, be an action taker. There's all the information out there that you'll ever need. The power comes from the applied knowledge by actually taking the action. I talked about ways to do land deals today. So go out there, take action. Call me 863-801-6959. Trisha, I love it.
Yeah.
Love her photo.
She, the fact that she talked about forward and you're saying taking action is the way to go. You have to, if you're curious, you're interested, you got to start somewhere by actually taking the action and reaching out to Brent, and getting those good nuggets of wisdom and knowledge for you. So,
well, don't call me or text me or even think about putting in an application at Land Sharks unless you're ready to take action. I'm not trying to be arrogant here, but don't waste my time, because so many people just want information and education. No, we're here to take action.
Do something.
There's only 24 hours in a day. I've got 3 kids and a family that I love. So it's just, I was scared. There's sometimes I bought some land deals. I'm still scared, even though the numbers were perfect. But you just got to get past that.
Yeah, you got to start small, like you did, and then tack on and then stack that. Stacking, as this guru Mel Robbins, this woman that I listen to, she talks about stacking, and that's definitely could be a stacked habit. But you start with one piece of land. Start somewhere. Don't just sit on it.
Yeah, small wins. Today, the win is we're going to pick a playground. We're going to pick a market where land is in demand. Tomorrow's win, we're going to price that land. The next win is we're going to call a realtor. Before you know it, all these small wins add up to, holy crap, I just made $5,000 on my first land deal. Net profit.
Yeah. You never know unless you try, is what I always say. You never know what's going to happen unless you try. I appreciate you joining us today on Industry Live, Brent, so much. And you're always welcome. There's a new topic that you wish to share with us.
God bless, Kimberly. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for joining us on Industry Live. Remember, wherever you watch today, make sure to put in hashtag replay and let us know where you watched. Want to see past episodes, go to Google, put in to the Google #Kimberly or #Industry Live, and you'll be able to choose wherever you want to watch it from. And as well as if you want to be a guest, you can go to this link, download and go to this link and set up a time to be on Industry Live, or you email me, Kimberly@marketingdoer.com. But until next week, which Trish and I will be talking about grounding techniques you can do in the workplace. Have a great rest of your week, and remember, sharing is caring, everyone. Take